the same time. Okay, how are we doing on time? 8:59. It's time to roll. So it will in a moment. So I'm going to. Okay. You got a few people. It's a good start. Okay. Good morning, everybody. I'm amazed and impressed that you're alive, here, sane, functional. Okay, we'll leave sane out. You're here, 9 o'clock in the morning. But it's been an impressive first day of DerbyCon. We're now on the second. It's a lot of fun. Has everybody been having a good time so far? Good. Have you learned a lot? Some of us have learned technical stuff. Some of us have learned our alcohol tolerance isn't nearly what it used to be, but we've all learned things. Okay? Welcome to Business Development, the best non-4-letter dirty word in infosec. Okay? We have to put our disclaimer up because you have to. These opinions are ours, not our employers. They're our opinions. Do not take them for anything from our employers. They're not expressed or implied. Feel free to read the whole thing. It's up to you. I don't think anybody ever does. You'll see why. But anyway, this is just solely our stuff. Okay, this does not represent War Collar. This does not represent Cyber GRC. This is the idiot, genius, something or other of Scott and Josh. Okay? Being very clear there. Hi, I'm Josh. I'm the loud guy in the lobby most of the conferences that you go to. I've been just about everything. I'm an ex-cop, ex-fireman, ex-horse dentist, ex-blacksmith. Yes, not a joke, not lying at all. It is hilarious, but it's not a joke. I'm part of Mindshare and Mission Link. I was a graduate of Mach 37. Damn, I don't think I've ever kicked anybody out that fast.
That was quick.
Thank you. You've just broken my record. Rob, bravo, wow. Sir.
Wow.
I've been around the block in terms of technology, and I've been around the block in terms of business, and we're here to see and show you why they're actually very similar and very different, and how there's a problem in both that needs to be addressed by both groups acting together. Okay? And yeah, occasionally I sleep. My conference is in 2 weeks. So if anybody's in the Mid-Atlantic region, come to B-Sides, Delaware. It's awesome. But yeah, we're here at a conference enjoying ourselves and taking conference calls. The other night in the lobby were 3 of us on the same conference call for the same conference in different corners so we could be on the same conference call. It's pretty insane.
Shameless plug time, huh? Hey, what am I going to do? Hi, guys. I'm Scott Lyons. I'm the VP of Business Development for War Collar Industries. Again, whatever's said in here does not represent War Collar in any way, shape, or form. I've been all over the industry, from federal to civilian, from dark holes in the government to light holes that are just like, what? Why are you here? So I've done multiple B-sides. I'm a goon at DEF CON. I'm a goon at SHMU. Come see us there. War Collar has a table. Shameless plug. Okay. See, there we go. I'm really known for one heck of a work ethic. You know, it's head down, laser in on your subject until you figure it out. So let's move on a little bit. Let's discuss stuff that we're not addressing in this presentation. Anything technical relating to cats. Nope, virus scans, nothing dealing with that. Okay, nothing with Krebs, and definitely nothing with this guy. Right? So, business for technologists.
So Scott and I sat down and wrote out a talk, and we're like, oh, let's do BizDev, man. This is actually cool. Nobody does BizDev right. I mean, some do, but it's rare. And then we said, you know, that actually is sort of a sequence of talks, and I've been doing a lecture series about the technology is worth 5%. Let's do a full, complete series of talks. So we wrote out all 6 talks, and we're giving them at various conferences. This one is Business Development, which is the 4th in the series of talks. They're not going to be given an order, okay? We're going to give them all over the country. We've already submitted CFPs for the next 2 conferences. ShmooCon, we've submitted a CFP, and InfoSec World in Orlando, we've submitted a CFP for, to see if we can get more of these. But the talks are basically business for technologists. Everybody here, more than likely, has been a technologist for most of their working life. They've hacked firewalls or built firewalls. They've done pen testing or they've done blue team and tried to keep those damn pen testers out. But what do you know about business? I mean, what do you know about what it takes to start, run, operate, support, make sales for, and then eventually maybe sell your business? And that's a question that we don't think people are sufficiently answering for our community. And this lecture series is how do you start it? How do you get an idea? The technologies are worth 5%. How do you build a product? How do you operate that business and actually sell things and make money off of it? An amazing concept, making money. It's how you pay your rent. Cool stuff.
We all have to eat.
Business development to increase your sales and basically get your business going into the stratosphere. How do you manage your sales when you're big enough that you have a sales team? How do you manage it? And then, how do you sell the thing and make the real money and do that island retirement thing? So that's the B for T Talks, Business for Technologists.
So real quick, let's talk about some security as business, all right? The statistics that you're seeing up on the slide are back from 2014 to 2015, right? So this year hasn't finished yet, so we can't really do 2015 to 2016 just yet. So at that time, there were 169 million records that were released via all the breaches that happened, right? There is a staggering number of 200 days before an event is accurately detected. Who knows about the Target hack, right? Well, what product did they have, right? And I don't want to say product names up here, but what I do want to say is that attack was lost in the wind, okay? There was too much noise going on with that product for a sensible person, like any of us in this room, to be able to understand, hey, we really have a problem here and we really need to look at it, right? So, just as a little bit of background for why we're really in the business that we're in.
And why we think that there's a business here to be built.
Yeah.
Why we think that, you know, the idea is, look, we have negative unemployment, right? Everyone here can have a job in not that long of a time. But if it's so good for for job security, why don't I just cut out the middleman and build a business, make all the money, not just the puny salary they pay me? Well, there's reasons. So there's opportunity, but you've got to overcome the reasons that building a business is hard. Does that make sense to everybody?
So let's go over our agenda for today's talk, okay? We have some introductions and definitions.
We have nightmares of biz dev, what you're going to find and what you're going to really wish didn't crawl out from under your bed.
Yeah, the how-to and the facts of biz dev. We'll get into that.
I didn't agree to this one. I didn't agree to that joke.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Hey, don't back it up.
Thank you. And then why it really matters and how good it can be.
All right.
Okay, so first thing is, you're going to start a business. Well, what are you going to sell? I'm a pen tester. Great. You're going to go sell pen tests. That's fine. But what if you want to sell, I don't know, some little box that does some specific thing, like an Anana box or a dope scope or a, whatever, a travel router or a Raspberry Pi based logging mechanism that uses ncurses and Nginx to...
Or some zero trust model.
Or zero trust model, whatever. That, however, is, well, anyway, there are products. Now, a product, there's a method to my madness, bear with me. A product is something that you have manufactured, you rubber stamp out, it makes you money while you sleep. Okay? You sell this, it is gone. Now I can sell support, I can sell upgrades, I can sell whatever, but the product itself, like shrink wrap software, it's in, here's your Microsoft Office, you use it, I don't have to deal with you anymore. If you have problems with it, we can talk. And that's, sorry, we backed it up, but then there's tools. Tools are something that is a product, but only a trained person can use. So if Optiv or some consultancy shop has a product that they use and they won't sell to you, they use it and they charge you for the use of it, that's a tool. So a tool is a product that a consultancy or professional services shop uses in the support of their client services. Does that make sense to everybody? And it's a subtle difference, but it's important. And then there's, of course, services. When you're going to sell that service, that support for that product that you sold, that's a service. When you're going to sell a pen test, that's a service. Okay? Now, in the course of that pen test, if you use, if you use Nessus, okay, you're using a product in the support of a service, that makes it a tool. Okay? Why does this matter? Because the way you sell things, the way you price things, the way you write contracts, the way that you deal with your clients all changes depending on whether it's a product, a service, or a tool. Okay? You're like, really? No, seriously. If you're selling a service, you can sell a service that actually goes on recurring, like SaaS is a service. Okay? Software as a service. I'm not selling Microsoft Office. Here's your Microsoft Office. I'm done. Go away. Okay? I'm saying, here's your Microsoft Office 365. You're going to pay me for it for every month for the rest of your life. Doesn't that feel good? That's now a service. And they make more money off of you because of recurring billing. Ooh, recurring billing. We like recurring billing. So that's product, services, and tools. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody? Sorry, that's a weird one. It's just the start of the weird stuff, though.
Right, and let's get really into the weird stuff, right? There's a lot of metrics that you should be tracking once you feel that you have your business development, your business, once you have it established, right? So everybody says, hey, great, I can do stuff. Why don't people pay me? Well, you have to go out and you have to get them. And that is what's known as building your pipeline, right? Pipeline, right? No,
stop. Don't go.
No. Okay. So that's known as building your pipeline.
How many jokes I had to delete from this presentation? Okay, seriously, swear to God, it was hard.
So some of the metrics that are here, like your outreach, your sales targeting, your leads generated per month, your leads per month versus your leads work versus your leads connected, an estimated pipeline value, right? So how much of what with what business is capable to what product, tool, or service of your business, where's the matchup? And how do you find the synergy between the two businesses to come together for a contract or for work or for any products, tools, or services, right? And then from there, we go into how do you convert everything over? So once you have a lead, how are you converting your lead? What's your rate? What's your lead conversion rate, right? And then let's get to the close of the sale.
Now, let's be honest, though. This is not this talk. This is the next talk. Business development is what you do to build your business. Sales management is how you grow that book of business that you built. So this is just literally a teaser, a taster for the next talk.
Yeah, and there's a huge difference, huge, unmistakably huge difference between sales and BD, business development.
Right. Business development, or BD, and sales management, or SM, totally different things.
Hey, don't go there. Don't go there. We're in public.
We were giggling like children.
We were.
We really were. Okay, so you're like, but I've got friends. I mean, at least two, right? Sorry, I couldn't resist. But your network, even if it's a good network, is limited. You have a certain amount of friends, you have a certain amount of colleagues, you have a certain amount of contacts. Some of them will hand you business because they know and trust you, those of you who are trustworthy. Some of them can be confused or persuaded to hand you business, joking about the confusing part. But realistically, you still have a finite number of people that you know, that you're linked into, that you're Facebooked with, whatever, okay? And that have business to give you, and that have budget to fund that business, that things you can do for them, and are in the right part of the budget cycle, ... okay? So I'll just build the best mousetrap, going back for an old saying, and they'll show up and they'll want my business. No, not really. Is your name Elon Musk? Because if not, no. Okay? So not everybody you know wants to buy what you're offering. Well, that's what I talked about. Do they need what you're trying to sell? Do they have the budget? Are they in the right point in their budget cycle? Do they have the go from their management, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? Look, you gotta get out there and find new customers, because once you have a process for getting new customers, you'll keep getting new customers. Okay? Because again, you can have 5,000 friends because you're the most gregarious friggin' geek in the world. But when you hit 4,999 that's giving you business, you're probably close to done. Okay, so.
And it's not just new customers, it's also new products, new services, new tools.
Yeah.
So all of these go into your pipeline, right? So So how do you build and run your business, right? How do you move your business forward and keep feeding every single person who has a mortgage that works for you? It's not so much that you look at, hey, I've got a mouth to feed. It's, hey, I have another mortgage that I'm sort of responsible for.
Sorry. So I've got to tell you this story, and it's relevant, I promise. So one time somebody went to me and goes, I'd started a startup, which I've subsequently closed, by the way, and I'm actually proud of that. I did the right thing. But I had started a startup, and I was the CEO of that startup. Somebody walked up to me, very, very nice person, and said, I want to do what you're doing. In 3 years, I want to be a CEO just like you and making millions of dollars. And I looked at her and I went, really? Because I'd love to know how to do that too. And she said, well, what do you mean? You're a CEO. You must make lots of money. And I went, can you give me an example of a CEO in InfoSec that's making lots of money? She goes, Dave Kennedy. I went, great. Dave Kennedy's a fantastic example. So let's use him as our exemplar, right? She goes, okay. I said, let's explain how you do that to make millions of dollars as a CEO of an InfoSec business. She goes, great. I said, number one, go become a CISO of a multi-billion-dollar business, because he was at Diebold, if you didn't know that, and he was their CISO. I said, number two, spend the last 3 years of your tenure there building the contacts and the contracts. He had contracts signed before he ever left. Okay, at least verbal contracts if he wasn't allowed to do them for his agreements, but whatever. He had contracts before he ever left Diebold, and he spent the last 2 or 3 years doing it. So be the CISO of a multi-billion-dollar company, spend the last 3 years of your time carefully planning out a well-executed and well-implemented plan for getting contracts of entire countries' InfoSec, okay? And multi-billion-dollar companies going, Dave, we love you, we want you to do our InfoSec. Get that. Then go out and start the company with people you've already hired, already have, already know, and with the contracts you've already acquired while somebody else is paying you a salary. Hey, that's a great way to start. I said, but first, go become the CISO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. And she went,
And good luck becoming Dave Kennedy.
Honest picture.
Yeah, that happened.
So we want to be clear. We're assuming you're not the CISO of a multi-billion-dollar corporation. That's why we do these talks. Okay? But we want to assist you in understanding the perils, pitfalls, and wonderful, wonderful advantages of doing these kinds of things. So that's what to do. We hope it's valuable. You're up. Oh.
So let's get dangerous for a minute. Okay, let's talk about the real American horror story of this stuff. Getting paid. Yeah, good luck.
Money up front is wonderful. As a small company, it's kind of tough to say, hey, I've never done this before. Pay me now and I'll do the work afterwards. They're like, yeah, sure. Okay? You've got to understand what acceptance criteria and milestones are. You've got to get, well, can I get half up front? Do you pay your mechanic half up front? Do you pay your plumber half up front? Because I tell you right now, and I'm being very honest with you, InfoSec is being commoditized. InfoSec is specialized already, we know that. How many people here would say, I am an InfoSec practitioner, meaning that they do everything? Okay?
One guy.
One guy in the back does everything. You do forensics? You do pen testing? Vuln scanning, threat intelligence. Fantastic.
Technically speaking, everybody in InfoSec can do a vuln scan.
Do you do it as well as somebody that specializes in it? All right. So, and I respect that. Well said and honest. So we've got an industry that is specializing and commoditizing. It is starting to become a value-based system. For example, has anybody heard of a pen test sweatshop? Did you know you can get a pen test done for $8 per IP?
Yep.
No joke. Okay, so everybody that goes, well, pen testers will always make $300 an hour. We'll see. I'm betting against that. Irrespectively, if you're in a value-based economy, you've got to be very careful about trying to get paid. You've got to make sure you get paid. You've got to make sure you get paid at least some up front, but you've got to build the reputation to get paid up front. You've got to build, building the reputation requires you get jobs done. To get jobs done, you need to get money. To get money, you need to get paid up front. It's an amazing concept. It's really, really chicken and egg. Okay? So, and it's really dependent on the terms and conditions. Write them carefully or have your lawyer do it. Oh, wait, that's expensive. Crap. It's all about this money, isn't it, guys?
See, but with anything, though, it takes money to make money, right? And to add on to what you just said, always know who you're getting in bed with in business, okay? Whether it's, okay, that was awkward.
No comment.
No comment. It comes down to how do you protect yourself, your business, your partners, your associates, your people, all of those mortgages that you now have working underneath of you, well, be a stickler for paperwork. Okay? A little bit of money up front with a lawyer to make sure that you get all your paperwork squared away is a good thing. Okay? So what kind of paperwork can you do? Well, here it is. Your NDA, your MSA, your SAL, your acceptance criteria, your T&C, your professional accounts reliable. It's just, yeah, receivable. I call them reliable. Right? There's a joke there. You know, be a stickler to paperwork. Make sure you have everything you do in writing. Period. We can't stress that enough.
And when I took the dirty jokes out, he started adding things like there's a leak in the engine room.
Get it? There's a leak in the engine room. Okay.
Nobody eats vegetables here? Paperwork's
don't
important.
Go down with the ship? Okay. You know I was going to get that in.
Oh, bad.
No, it's not as bad as this, though. So you and your other friend, well, this could be your other friend, which we don't talk about.
I call them pizza slot geeks. The ones you put
Pizza
in
what?
Pizza slot geeks. You put in a closet,
Oh, yeah.
one door big enough to get a pizza, and a 2-liter Mountain Dew through.
Yep.
Because sometimes people just don't want to be like, leave me alone. Okay, you're in your corner. Have a nice day. But the rest of us, like the ones who are here, you're here because you want to expand your horizons and learn.
But we're not calling you pizza slots.
No, absolutely not. You're here. That's kind of the differentiator.
So realistically is when you get that pipeline moving or you think that you have something valuable, something tangible that you can then move towards a statement of work, NDAs, MSAs, all that crap we just talked about, you have to find people to get to do the work, right? So we hope that you have a good enough contact list where you could say, hey, you want to come do work for me? You want to come wear my shirt? Okay. I have to give you one, don't I? Yes, okay. So that's pretty much how it works. And then you guys come together, figure out a rate, sign everything in paperwork, make sure it's set in stone per the agreement of the SAL, the statement of work.
Get an NDA from them.
Yep, cover your six.
You have to basically make sure that you're an employer at this point, and you're covering your liability and your client's liabilities by doing this stuff. Oh my God, can I just shake somebody's hand? Absolutely. But you know what a contract is, everybody? This is not a joke. Does anybody have a definition of a contract? Wrong. Absolutely correct, absolutely wrong.
Yep.
A contract is an understanding. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, speak up.
Speak up. Okay, you're right. So you're going for the legal definition. It requires consideration. The realistic definition of a contract is an understanding of the rights and responsibilities between the contracting parties so there's no confusion later. If I say, you're going to be doing the vuln scan, you're going to be doing the pen test of these IPs, you're going to be doing the pen test of those IPs, and I have it written down, and I say, for that I'm going to pay you whatever, some amount of money, X,
units,
Y, and Z amount of money.
10 units, 20 units,
okay,
10 units.
Whatever. And he goes, well, I did his IPs because he wasn't doing them, so I get all the money, right? And he goes, wait a minute, I was about to start. What the heck? That's confusion. We don't need the confusion. So we write things down so that you understand, because it's a lot easier to ask dumb questions or rather silly questions up front and write it down than try to do it on the back end and go to court.
Okay? And realistically, to take care of who's really doing what, that's usually left up to the PM or a manager that understands the bigger picture.
And in a small company, that's
you know. I mean, more often than not, we find ourselves sitting back, looking at our coworkers and our bosses, saying, "I'm smarter than that guy. I can do his job."
Yeah, but what parts of their job do you not know about?
That's it exactly. You know,
And
there's always something in the background going on that they're dealing with, which makes them special. You're dealing with, which makes you special. Stay in your swim lane.
So let's talk about this for 1 second. I'm going to expand this slightly. Let's assume that you have a friend. I know it's a stretch, but bear with me. And I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I'm so sorry.
Jackie will be his friend.
Okay, so you have a friend who says, I've got a pen test for you. I'm willing to pay, I don't know, $50,000 for this pen test. Let's say it's a decent-sized pen test. Okay, you go, oh, that's awesome. You go, look, I'm the next 3 months, I'm booked up solid. So you're going to call him. He's going to do the pen test. You go, hey, dude, I want you to do the pen test. I'll give you, $100 an hour, maximum of whatever it is, 50 hours, okay, $5,000. All right. Now you're looking to make $45,000 on that, right? And he's like, wait, why are you making $45,000 on something that I'm doing the work on? Well, that's true. But what he doesn't realize is that you've got error and omission insurance, you've got business liability insurance, you're the one that developed the relationship, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of reasons there. But in the end, that really is a bit too much of a gap. You're stepping on that way too high. So my point is that for everything that you go, wait, why are they making all that money? Okay, well, there's reasons. They may not be good reasons, they may be crappy reasons, but there's reasons. Also, there's the fact that sometimes you're going through multiple layers. That $50,000 pen test may be done by somebody who does it for $5,000. And every person in that chain may only make $5,000. I'm making numbers up here, bear with me. May only make $5,000 in profit. It may have gone through 17 different layers. Literally, in our business, that happens. 17 is a bit much, probably 3 to 5. That happens all the time. So you're like, wow, seriously? Go ahead. No comment.
And so the converse of that might be you come across somebody who says, hey, I've got an engagement that I'm going to pay you $50,000 for. You bring it to him and say, hey, I can't do this, but I'm going to hand it to you. I want a finder's fee, right? And he says, well, great, 20%. 20% is actually a standard finder's fee.
Yeah. And that's fine, and then the liability's on him, you're just getting cash.
Yep.
He has to have the insurance and so on.
So he does all the work, you make money.
There's complex stuff, but anyway, we're talking about business dev.
Yeah.
So this is the other big part of this, is communication. Who here has ever had a conversation with their significant other where they realized that neither of you were speaking the same argument? Okay, that's known as a...
You should be raising your hand.
Yeah, especially because my wife is raising her hand in the back. That's known as a disconnect or a rupture. And my favorite story about this is a guy that married a lovely woman, and he got sick. Now, neither of them in their courtship had ever gotten sick before. In his family, when you got sick, you went to bed, and somebody came with large glasses of orange juice and tea and toast and took care of you, okay? In her family, when you got sick, they left you alone because they didn't want to get sick. They figured let it die out, you know, the disease, the cold, the flu, whatever, let it stop with that person. So you would creep in the middle of the night and get food, back to bed and be miserable. But when you're done in your week of misery, nobody else has gotten sick. Okay? And in her family, juice was something you drank in little tiny glasses on Sunday as part of the ceremony or whatever. So he got sick. He retires to his bedroom. He loudly announces, "I'm sick." And he expects tea and toast and orange juice in large glasses to show up at his, show up on his bed. "Oh, honey, it's okay." You know, that routine. And he, 6 hours later, he's like, "Wait a minute, I'm hungry." He goes, "Honey, can I get a glass of juice, please?" Maybe she doesn't understand. And she brings a little tiny glass of juice. He's like, oh, you don't care about me. You don't love me. And they had an argument. And he realized after a little while that their scripts were not compatible. They had scripts that they lived their lives by. And they, in this case of illness, they did not mesh at all. So they had a disconnect or a rupture. They were talking at each other, not with each other. And he said, "Okay, we need to sit down and discuss the past." And they did, and they came to an understanding. Eventually, he learned to accept glasses of juice left at his doorstep, and he never gets to see his wife when he's sick. But that's cool. It works for them, They came to an accommodation. The point is that when you're talking and you're explaining why the network being flat is a problem, and they're going, "Does it affect my ability to see cat pictures?" Well, no. You're talking different languages.
Did you know that 14% of the internet's traffic, unverified, 14% of the internet's traffic is nothing but cats?
Did you know that 89% of statistics are made up?
Only 6%.
Abraham Lincoln said that.
Yep. With
So,
iPhone.
when you do a presentation, a talk, a meeting with a business partner or a potential business partner or a prospect or a customer that we want, you have to understand how they communicate. I did a workshop at B-Sides Detroit. I showed up for a 15-minute talk and had a 4-hour workshop to do. It was interesting. But I split the room into compliance, security, and executives. And I said, okay, you compliance people, here's your list of problems. Security people, here's your list of problems. Executives, you have one problem. You have to take and solve the problems that they want to do, that they have, with the solutions that they want to do. But if you go over budget, you get fired. Well, what's our budget? Not telling you. Okay, so you better balance pretty carefully. By the time the security people got done explaining what a flat network was, that was a real example, by the way, and that was a real line, but does it affect my ability to see my cat pictures? I thought the guy's head was going to explode, okay? It was hilarious. Does it affect our ability to do business? No. Well, then why do we care? And it's like, wow, they really don't speak the same languages. We had participants taking notes like, worry about cat pictures. Like, it was great. If you don't speak a language that your audience, your prospect, your client, your customer can understand, you are not going to make a sale.
And
Check.
It goes further than just English. It goes further than just Spanish or Farsi, or if you're from Djibouti, it goes further than that. It's a deeper level of communication. It really is the quintessential, quote unquote, and sorry to borrow this gene, Muggle speak.
If you can understand where they're coming from, and you can resonate with that, you can communicate with a prospect. If you cannot, you will not. If you use jargon, they will not listen. Their eyes will glaze over. If you can explain why they should care. Look, I'm in sort of the entrepreneurial world, in the DC area especially, okay? And I get people coming to me saying, I've got this great product, would you listen to me? Sure, I'm a great practice pitcher, okay? You know, pitch your thing to me, let me listen. And 99.9% of the time, I have to stop them 3/4 of the way through or all the way through or whatever, and I go, hey, you didn't answer the question. They're like, what question? I go, the so what? Why do I care? And they go, well, don't you understand there's a problem? I'm like, no, you never posed one that I have. Well, you know, if you're a big executive, you'd understand that. I'm like, no, they won't. Because I'm putting myself in the mindset of a big executive, because I practiced. When I was at Mach 37, I worked with a lot of executives from a lot of large companies to understand how they thought. And believe me, it is foreign bloody land. Okay? You have to answer the so what question before you will get anywhere. And that's communication. And I've belabored this, I'm sorry. But hey, and by the way, what you're wearing counts. Wearing the ShmooCon t-shirt to the presentation, it might get you points if they're a ShmooCon attendee or if they know what ShmooCon is. If not, you've just shown up in a grubby t-shirt to a serious business meeting. We have a problem here.
Well, it also depends on knowing your audience too.
That's it.
So if your audience expects you to show up in t-shirt, jeans, and your hair to be blue mohawk, trust me, there are people out there who think that hackers look like that all the time.
Ask him to take his hat off.
It's actually not blue.
Oh, wow. You washed it out finally. He had a blue mohawk at DEF CON.
So there are people out there that think that we, as the hacker community, should look a certain way, should smell a certain way, right? Should
was just good timing,
act,
sorry.
should breathe, should function, all like we're that guy that we said we're not going to talk about. Even though there are people that are like that, that is not the bulk of us.
Yes, a lot of us have beards. Yes, a lot of us are, you know, some of us are overweight, although I'm working very hard. And if you missed the Prez's talk on obesity and infosec, you should definitely watch the recording. But look, real communication is there's a problem, here's a solution, do you want to implement the solution? The house is on fire, get out of the house. It's October, sprinkle the servers with antivirus juice. That's his line, not mine, I swear.
Well, who saw the report of the company that brought in some mystic to throw holy water on the servers in the server room to ward off viruses? I'm not kidding. This is not made up.
You were serious about that?
I am 100% serious about that.
I thought he was joking.
No,
okay.
This is not made up. You cannot make this up. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
Did you use like non-conductive fluid, you know, so it didn't...
Oh.
All right, so look, the way we want to communicate is reason. There's a problem, here's the pain point, here's the problem, here's the solution. You can also use force. Has anybody heard of rubber hose decryption? You know, I should have put the XKCD on here. The XKCD goes, oh my God, his laptop's encrypted. We're going to have to build $1 million cluster to crack the encryption, the real world. Here's a $5 wrench, go beat the key out of them. Okay? And so we don't want to use force, especially for clients. They have this thing called procurement department that won't pay us if we do that. And the police will be upset with us. We want to use reason, but we need to use reason that they will understand.
Yeah, and no matter what, every conversation that you have, to help finish the previous slide, it's okay, don't worry about it, don't worry.
Go.
You had to do it. To help close this out, ABC, it's at the bottom, it's very easy to understand. Any conversation that you have, you always should be closing the conversation, which means you always take an action from any conversation you have.
Right.
Right? It's just like this. So we figure out what works and what doesn't in a presentation. The next time we do something like this, we know our action items to move forward. Or you go into a pen test. Well, you know, I really didn't go that deep on port 80, which is HTTP on the pen test. So next time, you know, let me take an action and move that forward. So the next time I know what I'm going after, right? So that really goes into mistakes. That's actually a really good parlay. I never thought of that. So it goes into mistakes, lessons learned, right? So what kind of mistakes? Remember that magical thing we were talking about at the beginning called the statement of work, okay? It says, I'm going to trade my services X for dollar amount Y, right? Or unit amount or sec or whatever. So a lot of people like to say, well, I'm paying you $100 an hour to do this. Can you also do this? So if I'm paying you $100 an hour to sweep this floor, by the way, can you also wash? Hey, can you also wax the floor? Is there any way we could go bowling on the floor as well? Can you prep it for that? That's great. Okay, let's build a rocket ship on the floor. Well, wait, you're saying we can't do that?
Let's leave the door open if it's locked. Security. Let's leave the door open if it's locked. I want to let people in.
Yes.
And that actually occurs in a fixed price job. If you're getting paid $100 an hour, do whatever the hell they want. Okay? Well, to a point, be careful, never mind. But if you're doing a fixed price job where you're getting $1,000 to do a pen test, they go, hey, by the way, would you wax the floors as well? No! You're going to have to pay
it's gonna cost
more.
You. Yeah.
You're going to have to do a new SOW.
Yeah.
Ooh, somebody works for the government. Okay.
Who's the Fed in the back of the room?
Spot the Fed! Spot the Fed!
Just bust on you, man.
He's turning red. We can see it up here.
Oh, it's the Fed alarm.
Fed been detected. Fed been detected.
So look, there's scope creep, which is like, hey, you know, you're doing the pen test on these IPs. Can I add 3 of them? And can I add 3 more, and 3 more, and 3 more? Then there's scope grab, which is, hey, you're doing the pen test on these 10 IPs. Here's 100 more. Wait, no, you're going to do it or I'm going to cancel the entire contract.
And people will abuse your statement of work.
Mm-hmm.
It is a natural human reaction to say, oh, and 1, or and 2, or, oh, by the way, and 2 million. It is natural for people to do this. Expect it at some point in any contract you're working in. It's just like your friends coming up to you saying, hey, can you give me a ride? Oh, by the way, can you stop at Circle K? Oh, by the way, can we go to the movies on the way to your job? Can you just drop me there? Oh, wait, I got to pick something up before I go to the movies because I need to smuggle in some alcohol.
At a certain point, you just go, sure, drop them off and drive off.
That's exactly.
We have fired clients. And if you start a business, you will fire clients.
You will, just like you will look.
But then there's the other side of the coin, which is they go, hey, I've got 100 IPs that I need you to pen test. How long will it take you and how much will it cost? And you go, oh, it'll take me about 3 hours and $50. They go, fine, here, sign. You're like, wait, that was per IP. They're like, sorry, you said something.
Yeah.
You can misprice something in a heartbeat. Plus, how about I need you to pen test a website. Can you define a website for me, please? Can anybody here define a website? Okay, yeah, exactly. Why? Because they're like, well, it's just this one URL. You're like, oh, one URL, what's the big deal? Until you find out it's a massive chain thing of login screens and different web apps with Citrix over here and like RDP over there, logging into some ancient client server COBOL platform run on an AS400, and you're just like, I'm screwed. So be careful of your pricing and your scoping.
Now, your communication with your potential clients, I mean, you have to do your communication at your own leisure. I mean, there are some clients that we have where we only talk to them over Facebook.
It's the weirdest crap. Don't ever do that. Please don't ever do
no,
that.
Please try to stay away from that. Okay? But sometimes it's inevitable. Or you may bring in PW's here.
Okay, if you have questions about business, we're done. PW's going to come on stage.
Come on, PW.
So,
but it really comes down to how you communicate. Remember that muggle speak that we were talking about? So how do you take what you're doing and translate it through a respectable medium to business development?
So look, I just wanted to point out on the right-hand side, the Hell to Pay book. That's directly from clientsfromhell.net. All they are is like web design and designer freelancers. And they have an entire website of the crap that they go through. And I picked out some of the topics or one of their ads. I thought it was hilarious because a lot of it is very relevant to what we're talking about in the oh my God, crap happened stage. Okay? I thought you'd get a kick out of that. Okay. So now, here's the real meat of the talk. Yes, we've already gone through most of the time, but we're going to get there.
Don't fuck it up.
Okay. So
biz dev. So really, biz dev comes down to a couple of different key factors, right? Your relationships, how you network, what you're tied to as far as organizations. How many people in here have heard of AFCEA? Right? Good. Not enough. Right? How many people have ever heard of SBA, Small Business Administration? Okay, those guys have great resources. Reach out and use them. Right?
how many people here are members of ISSA, ISACA, OWASP? Okay, how many people here are members of Mindshare, Mission Link? How many people here are members of EO?
How many people here are members of CISSP? Oh, see, now that was an engineer, so I know who to talk to next for business.
Put your hands down, you scum. Look, the point is the first three that I named, ISSA, ISACA, OWASP, were technical organizations with lots of hands. The last three I named, Mindshare, Mission Link, and EO, are CEO and entrepreneur organizations where business gets done and very few hands went up. Okay? My point is that you're all intimately connected with lots of groups for technical people and technical stuff. And you can, if I said, hey, can you find somebody that can do Adobe Air pen testing? Like, maybe I can't, but hang on, give me 10 minutes, send out a note on a mailing list, you'll find somebody, right?
So don't forget, though, going to events is great. It does for your business. There are some people who believe that events really don't do much for business, but there are other people, depending on whether you're a product or a tool or a service, where the event will really accelerate what you're doing. And no matter what, at any time, always try to get to the C-level suite of a business. If you're going to develop business, I don't want to be talking to an engineer. Why? Oh, well, it's great. He might have a lead up to the C-suite, but you don't know, A, how long he's been there, B, who he knows, C, who he or she has pissed off.
And they can't say yes.
No, they can't. You want the money makers, you want the decision makers, you want to be up on high, right? So it's the old adage of, start high, go low.
That's for business?
I think so.
Okay.
It makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you?
Couldn't resist.
All right, then. So always work with those people that don't understand what the hell we do, because to them, what we do looks completely magical.
All right, clients. Everybody should know what a vertical and a horizontal. Oh, yeah, go ahead. Mindshare, Mission Link, EO, entrepreneur organization. Some of them, and I don't know if those three you can get in without being a CEO. Some of them you have to be sponsored into. There's a lot of, but look, how many hundreds of technical groups are there? From DEF CON groups, Linux user groups, blah, 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 blah. There's the same thing with entrepreneur organizations. There's the same thing with business organizations. There's the same thing with CEO organizations. There's a gazillion of them, just to go Googling. You have one skill a lot of people don't. You all know how to use Google. It's an amazing concept.
And to become a CEO, you watch the other 5 presentations that we're going to be giving later on this year.
Right.
Shameless plug, sorry.
Okay, so does anybody not know what a vertical or a horizontal are in terms of business?
And don't be shy.
It's okay. I didn't. Okay, a vertical is a business line. So aerospace is a vertical, transportation is a vertical, banking is a vertical, fintech or financials is a vertical. Those are the types of businesses. A horizontal is the size of a business. So horizontal would be, let's say, and you can split this almost any way you want, $5 million of annual revenue and below, 5,000 employees to 50,000 employees, whatever. There's different ways to skin that cat. Does that make sense? Okay. So that's a vertical and a horizontal. So if you go, I want to be in aerospace engineering at about the $5 million to $50 million company, there's your profile of clients that you want to be with, that you want to attach to, you want to attack.
You're not going to get there right out of the gate either.
No, you got to find out what your specific targets are. You don't even know yet.
And you have to grind through it.
Oh yeah.
This is not something that magical unicorns farting rainbows flying through the air looking like Pop-Tarts is going to happen. Okay.
Did you just Nyan Cat the audience?
I did. Okay. So that's not going to happen. Okay. In your 20 to 30 year career, you may have 3 unicorns.
Yeah.
Maybe. That is if you're capable to handle them. If your business is at the right size.
And
right?
so a unicorn is a company that's at the right size, at the right stage, with the right money, needing the right things from you that gets dropped in your lap.
Yeah, there's so many variables that go into play for a unicorn, it's not even funny. And when you really start down this track of what we're talking about, and you understand, hey, I really could use a unicorn right now, and no one shows up, great.
And
How do you feed yourself then?
realistically, with the clients thing, we're talking about targeting in the first few lines of the slide. So targeting, how do you target the right client? Yeah, are they business? Are they commercial? Are they government? Are they foreign government? Because that's legit too. Are they foreign commercial? Are they, are they regulatory? Are they pen testing? What are you doing for them? What do they need? How much money do they have? How much money are they making? This is all targeting. But then it gets into the how do you find them? And we talked about organizations and associations and places to go and look for them. Okay, business groups. All right. And sometimes you have to use those wonderful tools of open source intelligence and go, hey, where does the CEO of this company in the correct vertical and the correct horizontal, where does he go? What associations is he a member of? What association, or she, what associations are they a member of? Where do they take their free time in their professional development existence? And can I go to the same place and happen to sit next to them and chat with them? Is that stalking? No, it's open source intelligence, damn it.
I think we just got trolled.
By my wife.
Yep.
So how do you get on their calendar? Same idea. You've got to get some information. You've got to find your people that you want to talk to, and you've got to make up and get to them in a certain way that is appropriate, that is presentable, that is proper, but that invokes their interest in you. Okay? And get referrals. Last quick thing. Get referrals. Talk to your friends, talk to your family, look at your LinkedIn. Find the people that link to the people that you need to talk to. Well, I don't have anything. Start creating those chains. Start creating those chains now. Remember when I talked about Dave Kennedy and he spent the last 3 years of his existence at Diebold getting those contacts together? Guess what? If you've got a job now, start getting those contacts together while you're still getting paid to not get paid by your own company. Okay? Start making those chains of relationships and referrals happen now. And you're here. That first step. That's awesome. Okay? Trust me, in a few years we'll all be saying our first name and going, "Hi, Josh. I'm an entrepreneur." He got the joke.
Serial
Okay.
entrepreneur.
Make those referrals happen.
Don't sit back and say, "Well, I'm going to stick to my group of friends." What kind of disservice are you doing to yourself? The key number one point of our community, these conferences, events, is what? To get to know people. Okay?
I thought it was drinking.
Liquid encouragement. Gotta love it.
I got my lemon tea. I'm good.
So, where do contracts really come from?
The stork.
Yes. Right. There we go. How do you know to see a pitfall coming? Well, if it smells like a duck, acts like a duck, looks like a duck, then are we really living dangerously?
Oh, dude, you did a Darkwing Duck.
Oh, yes, I did.
Okay, look, do you see that I think my sink is clogged? That's horrible. Horrible. Okay, look, seriously. Hurry up.
So, how long does the sales cycle take? Right?
It can be 10 minutes. It can be 36 months. Government contracting, you actually have to support a salesperson and a sales engineer for 18 to 36 months to get a single contract. That's the average.
And by the way, don't hesitate to tell your client if their system needs to be reworked. Don't be afraid to say your system needs to be reworked, but really use more refined language than what I really wanted to say. But what is the worst thing that you can hear from a client? What is it? Anybody know?
That's actually really close.
We should talk about this next month.
Oh, we didn't hook up the audio.
Yeah.
Okay, we didn't hook up the audio, but the screaming sheep. So look, things that get in your way are called sales friction. Things that help you move things along are reducing sales friction. The faster you can make a sales cycle go, the less sales friction you have in it. Lawyers are bad sales friction, okay?
Yeah, and don't be surprised if you have clients that say, well, I mean, your proposal sounds good and all, sound right and proper, but I'm not ready. You go to them next month. I'm not ready. You go to them next month. Give me 2 more months. I've got this thing in China going on. If you know who you are, I don't need to say anything more. So just come back to me next month once these more things, go down. That's something that you don't want to hear. You want to be able to manage your people and your clients to be able to keep your revenue streams coming in. And so, you don't sink the ship.
Okay, real quickly. Building a business is a pain in the ass.
It is.
Building a book of business is actually the hardest part of building a business.
Yep.
Or at least one of the hardest parts. Your job, the whole point of this entire talk is, do you want to build a book of business? Go network.
Yes.
Go make friends.
Yes.
Go find people to learn from, get contracts from, get referrals to people who can get contracts for you. Go get people. Seriously, no joke. Go get people. Okay? It is not simple. It is not simple. It is not simple. It sucks. It's not simple.
It is a grind.
Okay? It's hard. That's never.
Down boy. Hard
You're going to
things are
get
hard.
13 contracts, and then you're going to have nothing for a year. You're going to get 5 contracts, and you're going to have nothing for 6 months. It's feast or famine. You're going to feel like the top of the world. You're going to feel like you're totally an idiot for doing anything like it.
Yeah.
You're going to feel amazing, like PW. You're going to feel horrible, like Gene. And vice versa. Okay? It's the entrepreneur's roller coaster. You literally will get immune to feeling good or bad about things because it goes through us so often.
At the end of the day, it is what it is.
And
you eat what you kill. Okay? You keep a piece of everything that you get. When you're working for a business or you say to somebody, hey, I want to come help you, the norm in our business is 20% of whatever you sell.
there are differences, but
There are. Now, of course, there are also trade-offs. One of the big things that most people don't get is that everything in a business is a negotiation.
Yep.
Whether you're going to a new job or you're in your current job and you've rocked that, or you're exiting from a company, it doesn't matter. Everything is a negotiation. Okay? And at some point, you just got to say, screw it, I'm out.
like us.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, questions?
Questions? Yes.
Yes. Happens.
Well, no, let me throw a question back at you. How deep is your pocket? Right, that's the exact answer. It all depends. Okay? Does it make sense for your business for you to step away from the vertical or for you to push harder?
Also, how big is that contract? If they're a $5 million contract that you're going to make 75% margins on, which is amazing.
Which is also covered in another talk.
Right. Is it worth your time? Like I said, when you do a government sales cycle, you have to support a salesperson and a sales engineer for 18 to 36 months before they'll make their first sale.
Yeah.
Okay, so, sometimes that sales cycle is monstrous. So sometimes you're going to fire a client or a prospective client because they're just not worth my time anymore. But it depends on the trade-offs. How big is that potential business? How long is the sales cycle getting? Sometimes you're going to write off a year. If you do an RFI, a request for information, or an RFP from the government, you could spend hundreds of hours working up a beautiful, beautiful piece of work that they'll just be like, oh, that's nice. Punk.
In the trash can. And it happens more often than not. You'd really be surprised.
In the back, we had a question from our engineer, Redhead.
Engineer Redhead, I like that. Fed. Redhead Fed. That's going to be his hacker name.
Sorry? I was just talking to a very, very prominent member of our community about that, and the answer is as fast as you can and as slow as you can. As fast as you can because you want more sales, and the salesperson will get you that. As slow as you can because when you hire a salesperson, they are either going to be a useless pile of crud, which costs you money, or they're going to be amazing and get you so much work that you're going to be scrambling to cover all the work. So you've got to build what you're selling, you've got to build your company, you've got to build your process and procedures, your paperwork stuff, and then you should probably get a salesperson. But getting the right salesperson is really not easy. PW, how many bad salespeople have you dealt with in your career? Not what I was expecting. But I mean, salespeople are a flighty lot. They'll be like, oh, I can sell anything. It turns out they can sell red staplers on a Thursday at one company.
Yeah.
They're amazing at that, but that's all they're amazing at.
And when you do hire a salesperson, you have to put it in their ball field for them to succeed. See,
100% commission.
Yeah, one of the keys to success is that you don't look at it as your success. You look at it as you're setting somebody else up for success. And I can't stress that enough. Anything that you do, whether it's running a business, being an engineer, being a C-level exec, you always set people up for success.
Yes.
Okay.
I will tell you one quick thing.
Yes.
I had a friend of mine who's the CEO of a new company at the time, very successful now, well done for him. He goes, is there ever a time that a salesperson will make more than the CEO? Because that just doesn't seem right to me. And it was like, you want the salesperson to make more by 13 or 15 times than the CEO. Why? Because then you're making a lot of sales, idiot.
Yep. No,
So
it seems counterintuitive, but you'll know when the time is right to hire a salesperson, and it'll just organically grow inside of the business, but whatever you do, you always put it in their court to succeed, and that's where the 100% commission comes in. Yeah, good luck with that. Really, it's like 15 to 20%, depends on what's negotiated. Remember that thing I was talking about? Everything's a negotiation.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing technical work.
We got 30 seconds, last question. By the way, the best question of the three gets a wristband from B-Sides Delaware. Sorry? Oh yeah. If you pay your engineers because they bring you business, you should pay them money.
Yes.
Pay them a commission. At least give them a spiff. Give them new laptop, iPad, lab, something. At the very least, get something. At least you can write the damn thing off. Oh my God! If you can write off a piece of equipment, hand it out like candy.
And
okay.
That's also another talk.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. That's actually it. You get the behavior incentivized. Anything you metric will improve. This is a warning. If you have a call center and you incentivize or metric call closing, they'll close calls like crazy. The problems might not be solved, but the calls will be closed.
Yes, yes.
So, but you get what you incentivize. What's that? Yes. Fargo.
So,
We have to go Fargo.
Speaking of going far,
Ladies and gentlemen, thank
that's
you.
us. Thank you for your time.
Oh, hey.